All right, the last time I was here at the boat, I noticed that there were some thin copper strips uninsulated that were part of the bonding system of the boat, and there was one connected to the gas tank, which would make sense. You're supposed to ground a gas tank. Any metallic tank with fuel in it should be grounded according to ABYC standards. So, but I noticed that that copper strip was not connected to anything. It just went down into the fiberglass hole and was not connected. It's probably been like that, I don't know how long, becoming more and more aware of the ABYC standards and realizing that that is part of my bonding circuit that should be connected to ultimately to the ground of the boat. I decided to do something about that. So that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to start by going down into the lazarette and seeing if we can't find where that copper strip is connected to the fuel tank. It's not easy to fit in these things, especially when you get over 50 years old. All right, and I'm going to switch you over so you can look. All right, so here's that uninsulated thin copper strip, which comes out, and it looks like it's connected to the fiberglass through a wood block. And I do not think that is to standard. I don't think that's what is intended, or according to ABYC standards, I do not think that's supposed to be connected to wood. So we're going to have to pull that connector off, and that strip heads straight down here. And I don't think that is terminated anything down at the bottom down there. And you can see there's an empty wire there, and maybe that's supposed to connect to that wire. I'll tell you this, is that wire does go, I know I traced the wire, and that wire does go to the copper plate that is installed on the hull. It's properly terminated over there. So I don't think that should be black, it should be green. I've got like low exterior heat shrink surfaces that I can put on there that are green, so I can at least try to mark that better so it's showing a grounding instead of a black wire. Right, I'm down here next to the engine, next to the starter battery actually, and I'm looking at the back side of the copper plate that's mounted onto the hull. I'll show you here. So that's the back side of the plate. These terminals are connected down to the copper plate, and you can see nothing's really connected except for this one location, and that's this wire that is coming from the aft portion of the boat, and that's a disconnected wire right now. That was connected to that uninsulated copper strip. So this wire was really serving as the grounding for the fuel for that uninsulated copper strip that was connected to the fuel tank. All right, we're gonna go and climb down into this lazarette. You can see I just pretty much emptied it so we could get in there, and from here we have pretty good access to the fuel tank. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna climb in here. We're here, and here is access to the fuel tank. We can see everything. The copper strip is right there, and it looks like it was held to copper tubing there by what might have been a clothespin, which is not great. Look at that, there's a clothespin right there, which isn't great. You can see that thin strip kind of like just lying on top of the tank, which, you know what, isn't a bad idea. That might be a proper way to ground the tank. All right, I see this grounding right here, so that is also part of the bonding or grounding circuit, and you can see those two green wires are connected to a terminal on the tank. So I think that is what's meant to be grounding for this system. And this green wire runs down here and ultimately runs down to the rudder post. So that is where the rudder is connected. And that is the rudder post. And so that looks to me like a properly grounded fuel tank. The boat facilitates ground. It's got a metal plate, a bronze plate attached to the hull, which we can connect to. It's got a rudder post that goes into the water, and the engine is connected to the transmission, which is connected to the V-drive, which is connected to the propeller shaft. Though from what I've read, the propeller shaft really isn't a great conductor. All right, here is a 1-inch wide, 1 millimeter thick copper flashing. And you can see now that this is, I think, about a 10-foot strip, maybe 8. And I'm gonna basically attach this to the fuel tank, diesel fuel tank. All right, down here on the fuel tank, this is that new copper flashing that I've just laid across the tank underneath the straps, and I drilled a hole that I'm going to attach a stainless steel screw to. Now we've got the fuel tank grounded, including the intake and return copper tubing. Those are all grounded now. So I've got a proper terminal installed where the basically this very thin uninsulated copper foil was. And now I've properly connected the 4-gauge wire that's connected to the bronze plate out on the hull by putting that green heat shrink on there. It makes it more identifiable. It's part of the bonding circuit. Whew. Well, I've been at this for about 3 hours, and I think I've done it. I'm kind of happy with what's going on, but it's slow progress. You know, you go in there and you see things and you get distracted. You want to clean some stuff off, and next thing you know, 3 hours goes by and you're pretty tired, but it's fun, man. It's just so fun to do. I want to thank my subscribers. I really appreciate your support. If you've stayed until the end, I'd really appreciate it if you'd press that like button now. That really helps the channel grow. This is Sailor Eric. Thanks for watching.